Growing up, you mentioned you were with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom was involved in the streets too?
Mom was not involved in the streets, never been in a police car, never been arrested, none of that. She total square, but she grew up on 20th and Naomi, which is,
Rough.
that's a rough area, you know what I mean?
How'd your mom feel when she found out you were involved in the streets?
You know what, for the most part, I want to say that she didn't approve of it. My mother always thought I should get a good education, get a job, work somewhere for 30 years, and that's what she wanted for me. But my mother always wanted me to be a suspect and never a victim. She always told me somebody hit me, hit them back. If they're bigger than you, pick up something, knock the dog shit out of them. Sometimes I got to hit them first, whatever. So my mother taught me that I should fight. My mother was so deep into that sometimes she would lock the door, because she's a single woman raising 3 boys. So she's like, oh, you better go do something. You better. I'm like, Mama, it's not my fight. She's like, you better not let nobody chase you home. She would give us 50 cents, maybe $1. Better not come home talking about somebody took it. The bike she would buy for us, can't let nobody steal it. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So she was always one to push me to be. Violence was the answer.
And was your dad around?
So my dad was around, but he was, he was going to school. He was working to be a doctor. He was a physician assistant. He was educated and kept going to college, kept going to school. And, him and my mother split up. So he was Easter, Christmas, sometime during the summer. He was there 4 or 5 times a year. And I can't blame him, that was partially my mother too, not wanting to be around him. So, we went to him, it was like punishment. You know what I mean? It wasn't like cool,
So you didn't see him that much?
Yeah, so I see him about 4 or 5 times a year. When he took us around, he always trying to take us around families or with no family, stuff like that. But he wasn't every day in my life. I couldn't go home and tell my father, hey, look, man, I just got jumped, or these dudes trying to jump. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that had an effect on you getting into the streets?
Oh, definitely.
You mentioned you had 3 brothers,
2,
right?
Well, I got, with my mother, I have 2 brothers. But
2 brothers.
I do have 3 brothers, one with my father as well.
Were they involved in the streets at all too?
My oldest brother was not, but my brother that's a year and a half, 2 years older than me, he was involved in the streets, and he ended up smoking sherm, and, kind of, his mentality stayed like even to this day, his mentality is far behind because of the drugs he used. My other brother, he was about 14 and he became a beast in the streets, and went to prison a couple of times, but he turned to money. He's a truck driver, owns property, so he turned his life around. He went to prison a couple of times, but so his, it was something he did at 14, but by the time he was 25, 26, I think he's 40 now, he was done with it. So it lasted a good 10 years or so.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's how it's supposed to be. It's childish. So, once a person turns 21, 22, it's supposed to be a lifestyle change. I don't want to do the same things at 21, 22 that I was doing at 13 and 14.
Right. It seems like today, though,
they're 50.
It's extended, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't designed to be that way. If you look back at Raymond Washington, if you look back at Tookie, you look back at Puddin', Tam, Baba Louie, all the dudes who, were credited with starting this, they were children. They were 13, 14 years old. So why at the age of 35 or 40 would I be following in the direction that was laid out for me by a 13-year-old?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense to me right now.
Did you mention you grew up around the corner from Tookie?
Well, no, there was a girl who Tookie used to go see who lived around the corner.
Oh, okay.
And around that corner was Cutes, Mouse, Rusty, Frank, another family that was well-to-do on 68th. And on 69th, Monster Kody and his whole crew was over there on 69th. So that was about 4 years of my life. That was like 1973 to 1977. I lived on 66 and Dinker.
Did you have any run-ins with them?
Oh, definitely. Not with Tookie. Me and my friends, we was kids. We go in the house. We hear Tookie's around the corner. We're not going around the corner. But I used to play with Frank, which is Cute's little brother. That was my skating ring partner. But as far as Monster Kody, he sent everybody on 69th Street to come fight me. You know, I used to ride my bike, riding down the street. You know, he's sending them, like, go get Skip Bike. You know, I used to have a paper route over there. So I'm riding down 69th throwing papers. So as soon as he see me, he tell him, man, get the papers, take Skip papers, take his bike. So I had to fight everybody over there. But the one thing is he never came and fought me. So, you know, we talked about that one time, 1982, 83, you know, and he was telling me then he was trying to make me tough. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But he did. Same thing my mama told me, fight everybody. So you got to look at that upbringing, fight everybody, fight everybody. Everybody's saying that. The kids in the neighborhood saying that. Parents at home saying that. And then they wonder why my generation was fighting everybody. Because if every parent tell their children, if somebody hits you, hit them back, who's the one parent that's going to say, wait, if somebody hits you, why don't you figure out what happened? How can y'all solve this? You know, how can we do some mediation? How can we do resolution? No parent said that. Every parent said, you better hit them, you better whoop their ass.
Yeah. I mean, that was also before the gangs were like
yes,
full blown, right?
Had nothing to do with gangs. It was just every parent wanted their child to not come home being bullied.
Right.
Regardless of gangs or what.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it's, you know, it'd be a little bit different now, right? I mean, raising your kid, I mean, because if you teach them to fight everybody,
right,
you get shot.
Oh, yeah, you can get dead by one of them.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, that was just, you know, you know, my dad, you know, growing up, he used to fight all the time too, you know. I mean, I got in a lot of fights when I was a kid too, but, you know, it was a little different. Right. You know, we had to be more cautious of, you know, the guns.
Right.
You know, versus, you know, when my dad was a kid, it was like, you know, it was maybe once in a while someone got stabbed.
Right.
You know, or something, you know, maybe someone would get shot.
Yeah, they had chains or they pick up sticks and stuff like that. And then eventually it turned to where they had 22s and shotguns. And that got scary. But then after the 22s, the 38 specials and the shotguns, somewhere in the mid 80s, now they got assault rifles. Now by 88, everybody got assault rifles and they got money. And people are influenced not by the guy who was big and could fight, but now they're influenced by the guy with the money. So now they'll shoot anybody and kill everybody, you know.
What was that transition like, seeing that go from where you were fighting into now, you know, it's assault rifles and, you know, people are really dying?
Yeah, so like that took place from like 1982 when I first started selling drugs. And then by 85 and 86, I was an influence. And like I said, I was probably 120 pounds, but I was a major influence. And it felt good to me to be that influence, but I didn't look at it from a deeper perspective. I just looked at the surface, like, you know, look, I got money and I'm an influence and I'm cool. But in 88, I came home from prison. I went to prison in 86, 87. When I came home in 88, it was actually scary. I thought to myself, I said, I'm definitely gonna die this year. I just knew it. I couldn't go a week without being shot at or, you know, people coming through wherever I was. You know, it was always something going on. First day I got home from prison, I got shot at. So, you know, not the first day, but the next day I got shot at. So it was like, I knew for a fact I'm gonna die.